To this story then, the Judicial Conduct Tribunal hearing into Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge is set to resume tomorrow. Now, earlier this year, the tribunal chaired by retired Judge Bernard Ngoepe heard evidence that's from the complainant, Andiswa Mengo, on charges of sexual harassment against Mbenenge. Now, Mengo told the commission she would have responded differently to his advances had he not been in a position of power. For more on this, we are joined by Wise for Africa Director Brenda Madumise. Advocate, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. I suppose we could ultimately start at a point where we understand how we got to this stage and the fear, perhaps, that cases like this brings overall to South Africa's judicial system.
Good morning, and thanks for having me. Absolutely, and I think what South Africa grappled with when this story came out into the public domain was how possibly is it that a judge president could do this, right? So, and that's why the credibility issue comes in. So there's no way that a judge president could have embarked on these kinds of actions and conducted himself in this manner, because he's supposed to be a judge president. We elevate people in those positions because of the positions that they occupy. So, right, so the credibility then goes to the woman because we want to then doubt what she has said and start to cast aspersion on her and her version and her story and her lived experience. So it's not new. It happens on a daily basis where men in positions of power, once they're accused of sexual harassment and acts of a sexual nature, we struggle to accept that it's possible that they could have done it or they have done it precisely because of the position that they occupy. So it's going to be, it has been that it's her story versus this powerful man, and society expects that we believe that the powerful man could not have done it. It's impossible that the powerful man could have done it.
What is it about at this stage? Is it about stricter rules? Is it about a case like this setting the precedent, or ultimately having a stricter ruling by the end of it, if indeed he is found to be, of course, fully guilty at the end of it, as it were? What's the case that needs to strengthen here in order to create an environment that is safer for everyone, not just, of course, in the judicial system, but really in our natural environments at large?
So I think, listen, we try to put the guardrails everywhere, right? Just to make sure that these kinds of acts and conduct don't happen in the workplace. So let's just talk about the workplace, where you want to believe that in the workplace, and your workplace is a safe working environment. But when those in power and in positions of authority abuse that power and use their power to elicit sexual favors, then your safety is compromised, right? As an individual and a woman in that organization. So we might have sexual harassment policies. We might have laws that tells us that we need to how to conduct ourselves. But human beings think that they can push the envelope, and because of the power that they have, they think that they can do certain things with impunity because they might have done it once, have done it twice, and nothing had happened, and you then could think that you can continue to do it. So we've got the guardrails. It's literally once you experience that kind of violation in the workplace that you act on it, right? And your HR environment in the workplace would have provided you with a framework on what to do once you experience that. And the challenge has been, because this is what we confront with as an organization, is that even in the organizations where you have the guardrails and you have the policies that sets out what should happen in case that you are violated and there's a sexual harassment at the workplace, that companies and organizations and employers really take long in investigating, in getting to the bottom of the case and really meting out proper justice. Because once you take long with providing me with an answer as someone who has been violated, I just don't trust the system and the process that you're going to undertake. And even in this case, if you recall, the complaint was laid 2 years ago, and it took 2 years for the JSC to come to where we are now, that there is this judicial conduct that is underway. So I think it really goes to you as a individual, but also as a judge president. If you know that your actions are what you are doing, you're not supposed to be doing it. Really, it doesn't matter how many judicial contacts we're going to put together. If you, at an individual level, you don't have a moral compass or a conscience to know that I can't be behaving in this manner and making someone uncomfortable in the workplace, then we're in trouble. And for me, it's how, as an individual, you really conduct yourself, and if you want to be an upright citizen and upstander in your workplace, then you should not be conducting yourself in this way.
Certainly is the case, and I mean that appeals a lot more to the moral code of citizens and everyday humans, then, of course. And while that may be different for different people, etc., the punishment ultimately can still be the same, one might think. And perhaps cases like this should maybe have harsher sentences. I don't know what your thought basis would, or your thought process would be, perhaps, on something like that.
Whichever way this case is decided, it's going to have a huge impact on the psyche of the society, right? In the event that he's found guilty, and if he's found guilty for gross misconduct, then the gross misconduct means that Judge Mbenenge must be removed from the bench, right? That's massive. It sends a strong message to everyone else in the judiciary, in the entire legal profession, that they can't behave in that manner, and there are consequences for that kind of behavior. In the event that they don't find that it was gross misconduct and that he might have been negligent, right, and he behaved in a way, they will have to impose a sanction, and I'll be interested to see what kind of sanction they're going to impose for a judge president who was negligent with his conduct and the words and everything that he used. If he is not found guilty at all, and the judicial conduct finds that there was no sexual harassment, it was all consensual, then it means Judge Mbenenge continues to be judge president, but it sends a message to everyone else that, and I'm sure you will see it, that there will be commentary around the powerful, mounting a legal attack on the complainant, and bringing out the big guns of lawyers and a team of lawyers to come and defend and protect your integrity and your reputation. So we are bound to comment on whichever way that they rule, but there must be consequences whichever way, in the event that it's found to have behaved and brought the reputation of the judiciary into disrepute. They'll have to. My take is, and I want to put it out there, that I would want Judge Mbenenge to be found guilty of gross misconduct, and so that we send a strong message that you can't, as a powerful man in authority, think that you can get away with acts of this nature and be rewarded for you to continue to be serving. We have to, if we say as a country that we want to have a zero tolerance to gendered violence in this country, our response should meet the fact that we have the highest number of sexual violations, sexual assault, and gendered violence in this country has reached unprecedented levels. And so our response has to meet the unprecedented level. You can't do things the same way, and not mete out the punishment that is going to bring out the consequence that we're looking for, so that it becomes a deterrent and that people know their consequences.
Well, Advocate, I think if anything, it details surely the situation and the starkness of everything as it currently lays. We thank you for your opinions, of course, and all of those. Just to detail to our audience, of course, then these are, of course, the views then of Advocate Brenda Madumise, the director at Wise for Africa, then